Slater Unbeaten 150 has Notts on top of the Riverside. A pretty even day at the Riverside ended with Nottinghamshire slightly ahead of their hosts Durham, who'd been bowled out for 230. Liam Patterson-White with an important 5-wicket haul to halt their momentum, and batting had been productive too for Notts. 50 runs scored without loss by Hamid and Slater. But after adding 10 more to the score, the opening duo were prized apart. Hamid struck on the back pad and given out LBW for 35. That proved to be somewhat of a false dawn for Durham. Ben Duckett arrived at the crease and in some form, and immediately struck up a fruitful partnership with Ben Slater. It was the number 3 who brought up the 100 with a sedate single off Gibson. Attention then turned to the other end. Slater was looking for more than a single, but that would have to do, up to 50 off 97 balls. The 50 partnership came in the next over, Notts almost halfway to their hosts' first innings total already. And Duckett then swiftly followed his partner to 50. He was catching up with Slater. He'd scored his off 67 balls when the ropes were found off Potts. He took them to 150 runs before tea, but that would be that for the in-form number 3, out for 54, unfortunate to drag Potts onto his stumps. They'd land another body blow before the break. Clark added just 1 before being taken by Beddingham at slip. Lunch called with the fall of the wicket. The score now 155 for 3. Slater was now joined by Lyndon James, and the all-rounder proved to be a tricky customer for the Durham bowlers. He was still there at the other end as Notts found their way to 200 runs. It was James who brought up the 50 partnership. Rushworth pushed into the offside for 2, the hosts now in need of a breakthrough. But that wouldn't be forthcoming, and moments after they'd played their way beyond that Durham total, Slater found the all-important run that took him to his 100. A fine knock for the opener. His side were now in the driving seat. James too had cause to lift the bat and salute the dressing room, a single off Driscoll taking him to his 50 off 75 deliveries. The 4th wicket had added 100 runs together before tea. Their lead was ever increasing now, and up to 46 at the break. The score 276 for 3. Both batters were going well. That was the story after tea too. Slater now starting to think about 150, James into the 70s, and the score quickly up past 300. The 4th wicket pairing was worth 150 with a tickled single by James. Attention then turns to the other end. Slater up to 150 off 298 balls. That raised to the pavilion. He soaked up the adulation. He'd been there for the entire day. With another Lyndon James 4, the pair were up to 200 together, shared evenly between the two, but the all-rounder was now hunting 100. That was his before the close, up to the mark with 3 off Borthwick, each run punctuated with a punch of the air, the celebration vociferous. Notts would play their way all the way to the close. Slater and James unbeaten, their partnership now worth 216 off 399 balls, and the visitors were smiling as they made their way off the field of play. A tough day for Durham came to an end with their visitors holding the reins. First on the agenda for the hosts tomorrow is picking up some crucial early wickets. Otherwise it looked like Notts may play their way to victory.